Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and welcome. My name is Rabbi Patrick, and I'm so thrilled to have you here at OneShul.org. Now, you would think with an online community that we would be very, very different than a normal synagogue, and certainly in a lot of ways we are. However, the one thing that we do consistent with brick and mortar institutions is Jewish Standard Time. People generally show up about 5 minutes late to everything. So I want to encourage you, if you are in the chat room, if you're joining us live, please log into the chat room. Create a username. None of your private information gets taken or anything like that. It's a great opportunity for us to know who you are and to get to know you. We have a few people in the chat room. I'd like to see more. So please take a moment. We'll give you a few minutes. Go on ahead and create a username so that we can see who you are. We are using our old chat room system for right now. We had a new chat room, and the company that we were working with, it just wasn't quite working out right. So we've reverted back to the old chat room. I apologize if you're used to the fancier chat system. You'll have to do with our more primitive one for right now. But go on ahead and create a username so that we can see who you are and where you're from, and we can get to know you better. And services will start in just a moment. If this is your first time, welcome. We are a pluralistic online Jewish community. So what does that mean? Well, what it means is that no matter who you are or where you are in your Jewish journey, whether you are born Jew, you're the spouse of a Jewish person, you are a spiritual seeker, you are gay, lesbian, transgender, if you are in the US, the UK, Europe, Asia, anywhere in the world, wherever you are welcome here. We have lots of different kinds of services and classes depending on the Baskin and Robbins flavor of Judaism that you're interested in. At any given moment, there will be a Shabbat service held by myself or held by another sort of more liberal person. We'll have Orthodox teachers. We'll have conservative people leading, a weekday service. We'll have Torah study. We'll have holiday classes and events. There's something for everyone here, and we try to do things at different times so that whichever time zone you're in, hopefully there's something that can reasonably be available to you. We haven't done a lot of events during this particular time period. It's 2 o'clock Eastern, about 8 o'clock in the UK. We're trying it out. We're trying to see if there's a demand there. People say they want it, but then when it comes time to have events and things like that, sometimes it's a little slow during this time period. So we want to try and see, what people are interested in and kind of check it out. So we will go on ahead and begin our service. I'm going to post the link to the service booklet. So we're doing a Shabbat service, but we're also doing a Tu Bishvat service. I know that Tu Bishvat was a few days ago, but we're going to fudge the time a little bit here because there's a debate about when Tu Bishvat is even supposed to be. We'll get to that in a moment. So if you can see in the chat room, we have the little link there. Go on ahead and click on that. That'll be the service that we use tonight. If you are signed in as a guest, please sign in as a viewer so that we can get to know you. Otherwise, we can't talk, and that would be disappointing. So we always start every service by asking where people are from. So in the chat room, go on ahead and tell us where you're hailing from. I'm in lovely Atlanta, Georgia, specifically North Druid Hills. If you are a Southerner, you may know where that is. So go on ahead and get us all loaded up here. So welcome to OneShul. My name is Rabbi Patrick Olive. I'm thrilled to be here. We are trying to do some events that are a little bit earlier in the day. Normally we do things around 6 to 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Our friends in the UK and in Israel are a little disappointed that we do things that late because then it's, very early in the morning or very late at night. And so we're trying to do things that are a little bit more accommodating. So hopefully there will be some interest in leading, having services and classes in this time. So we are having a split service today. We're having a Shabbat service, and we're also having a Tu Bishvat service. The Haggadah that is linked in the chat room is also the one on Facebook. So you can go on ahead and download that. It doesn't have the Shabbat service in it. It's just Tu Bishvat, because our Shabbat service is actually going to be fairly brief. So the question, of course, is, Patrick, Rabbi Patrick, it's after Tu Bishvat. How can you be doing a Tu Bishvat anything if it's not Tu Bishvat? Well, there's a simple reason why. There's actually a debate between Hillel and Shammai about when Tu Bishvat actually is. So Shammai said that it was Rosh Chodesh Shavat. So it was the first of Shavat. It was the first day, first evening, I guess you want to say, of Shavat. That's what he said. Rabbi Hillel said, no, it's the 15th. That's when we're supposed to observe Tu Bishvat. And we generally side with the house of Hillel, so it became Tu Bishvat. Well, here at OneShul, because our community transcends in a certain way time and sometimes even transcends dates, we can be doing a service that for us is a Friday that may be a Saturday for someone else. We have a certain level of time flexibility that other congregations don't have. And so we really have this terrific opportunity to be experimental and be creative and do things a little bit differently. So we're doing this joint Tu Bishvat Shabbat service in that spirit. Now, for those of you who have seen services that I've done before, you know that I love using YouTube videos. I love showing videos mostly because I am a terrible cantor. I was a singer in punk bands for a number of years, and that effectively destroyed my vocal cords. So hopefully you will enjoy a few of these videos that we're doing. So our Shabbat service is going to be brief before we go into our Tu Bishvat. We're going to begin with this really great video. We try to find Jewish singers that are doing really cool, interesting stuff, and particularly to highlight people that aren't very well known. People know who Matisyahu is, and people know who, Regina Spektor is, but not everyone knows these sort of smaller, lesser-known singers. So this is a really terrific video. It gets played a lot on OneShul. This is a terrific rendition of the Shema.
Tell you that he loves me. I won't tell you that he saved my life, but I can say as loud and clear as I can sing from my lips to yours that there's one of our God in every one of our lives, and that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Oh, and that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai. Oh, and that's why we sing. I won't tell you that he controls my life. I won't tell you that to have his love would be my everlasting plight, but I can say as loud and clear as I can sing from my lips to yours that there's one of our God, our near time need of everlasting light. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Oh, and that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai. Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Oh, and that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai, Adonai, Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Oh, and that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai, Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Oh, Echad, and that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai, Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Oh, and that's why we sing.
Absolutely love how she combines, very sort of contemporary folk, indie, female, music in with the Shema. It's really terrific. So I hope everyone is starting to really feel Shabbistic. I don't even know if that's a word or not. We're going to say it is. It's starting to get into the spirit of what Shabbat is. We have these two ideas in prayer. One is keva and the other is kavanah. So keva is basically the order, it's the ritual, it's how you're supposed to do things. So you look at a seder, prayer book, and you have your keva, you have your responsibilities. Then you have kavanah, and so kavanah is the intention. It's what you put into it. It's the energy, it's the focus, it's the spirit, for lack of a better word. And so there's this belief somehow that keva and kavanah are somehow at odds with each other. And I'd be curious to know, what everyone thinks here. If there's, if there's any type of difference here. Some people say keva and kavanah, two different things, and you're either a keva person, which is typically siding with the Orthodox, or you're a kavanah person, which is siding with more liberal Judaism or more of a free-thinking type of spirit. So I'd be curious to know, keva, kavanah, where do you stand? What is your particular sort of side, or do they integrate for you, and how? So give me your thoughts on that particular issue. I'd be curious to know what you think. I know that for me, it started off kavanah. I thought it was so silly and so ridiculous that you had this seder, that you had this prayer book, and I have to pray these prayers that someone else wrote for me. And being sort of a young rock and roll type of guy, I felt like my rebellion against that was, well, don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me how I'm supposed to talk to my God, right? Because, of course, God is my God in my universe. And then I started becoming very traditional. So I got really into the idea of the prayer book. I started thinking about the seder as being a roadmap. And it's a map that has been set before me, and all I have to do is just follow this path, and whatever sort of adventures I have along the way are for me to have, my own individual experience, but at least someone else has done that heavy lifting for me. But then I kind of realized something. I realized that my obsession with keva and my obsession, my earlier obsession with kavanah, were really opposing forces against something else. It wasn't keva and kavanah against each other, really. It was about feeling a sense of legitimacy. It was about feeling like I was doing things correctly, feeling like if a real Jew met me, because of course everyone is more Jewish than you are, right? If a real Jew had met me and saw me using tefillin, laying tefillin, wearing a kippah, reading out of a seder, that they would see me doing it correctly. So my obsession with keva was about knowing that I was doing it right and that I could somehow prove my rightness. And my rejection of keva earlier had to do with wanting to reject the idea of keva because it was something I had to learn, and I didn't want to have to learn it. I wanted it to become instinctive because, of course, I assumed that when you're born, you naturally know the Amidah, you naturally know the Shema, you naturally know Pesach de Zimra, right? Why I thought that, I don't know. But I took keva and kavanah as being, from either side, a rejection of feeling like I wasn't doing things right. And so now I've learned personally to step back a little bit from the keva kavanah, debate, and I think I have a little bit more peace because of that. So we had some great conversation going on here in the chat room. Someone just asked, how do I log in as a guest? What you do is you click on the little person that's in the right-hand bottom corner of the chat room, and then you can log in as a guest. Or you just click on the little area where it says send. There's a little white bar. You just click right there, and that'll allow you to go in the chat room. So let's see what everyone has to say here. Okay, so Shlomo ben Avraham, welcome, says, more kavanah than the other, but both important. Okay. Arava says, I try to integrate. The pattern gives a foundation, but the energy has to make it come alive or it's stale and it's merely going through the motions. It's an excellent point. And, so you need, like Shlomo is saying here, you need that essence. You need that energy, as well as the seder. So it's a great point, right? Maybe you need both, and maybe the two can integrate well together. Now, let's talk real quick about, where some of these brachas, where some of these prayers come from. They have some very interesting origins. So we're going to end actually the Shabbat aspect of our service and go into the Tu Bishvat seder with Kaddish. Kaddish is very interesting. Kaddish is the mourner's Kaddish. We think of it in terms of observing a yahrzeit, thinking about the death of a loved one, maybe a relative. And we think of the Kaddish as just being something that existed, right? Somehow, from Sinai, we've had Kaddish. Well, the interesting thing about the origin of the Kaddish is that it comes from about the same time that Christianity started thinking about the idea of plenary indulgences, praying for the dead, thinking that if you said something, you could intercede on the behalf of a deceased individual. So it's interesting that this saying of Kaddish as part of the mourning process, specifically the mourning process, not the prayer itself, but the mourning process, comes at about the same time that other religions are thinking about this concept of praying for the dead. So it's interesting that, as a Jewish family, we have this tradition, right? We have this tradition of saying this blessing that has nothing to do with death at all, never mentions death once. But then as a human family, drawing sort of the circle a little bit bigger, we all have this instinct. We all have this instinct to talk about those who we've loved and lost and to bring their memories back to life. And in that sense, we bring people back to life. Human beings are the only creatures who have mastered resurrection. We've mastered resurrection in the sense that we are able to read books by people who've passed away, and we can know those people. The Torah is a great example of that. We are reading stories that are thousands of years old, and they are relevant to our lives today. We think about Abraham, we think about Yitzhak, we think of Yaakov, right? We think of people from way in the past. We sing songs that were written by people who would have no concept of what our life is like today. And for us, having no concept of what their life must have been like outside of what we read in books and what we're able to dig out of the ground. But it's this beautiful human experience of saying Kaddish and connecting to God and connecting to our ancestors in that way, and to the people that we love and that we've lost. So, as is our tradition here at OneShul, if you are observing a yahrzeit, are in the Shloshim period of ritual mourning, if you would like to type in the name of the person that you are saying Kaddish for, feel free to do so, and we will say their names at the end of this Kaddish. Now, we've got a Kaddish video. This comes from the website mykaddish.com. Check it out. It's a terrific website. So here is the Kaddish.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbo bi'alma divera chirutei v'amlich malchutei b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'b'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael b'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach li'olam u'lalmei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudasha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran v'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shamaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. We finished with the statement, He who makes peace in the heavenly heights, may He bring peace upon us and upon all Israel. Amen.
It's a wonderful opportunity to get to think about those who we've loved and lost and to honor their memories. As I said before, if anyone has someone that they have in mind, feel free to add the name to the chat room. I'd like to include all of the victims of the Holocaust, and I'd also like to add the victims of terrorism, both in Israel and everywhere all over the world, victims of genocide, and the names of all of those people who don't have living relatives to say Kaddish for them. So, we will start our actual Tu Bishvat seder. So, what you want to do is you want to go on ahead and download the little booklet that I've just posted in the chat room. It's also the one that is in the calendar. It's also the one that's on Facebook. We've put it everywhere. You should know how to get to it. If you click on that link, it'll pop up a window, and you can go on ahead and have that off to the side, or if you just want to read that while we go through the service, that's fine too, or you can have both windows open. You don't have to have the booklet. It's not that important. You can feel free to save the booklet, print it out, use it however you'd like. But what we'll do is we'll go on ahead and get started with the actual Tu Bishvat seder. Let me pull up my copy of it. And we will get going. So, we're not going to read everything that's in the booklet here. What we're actually going to do is we're going to start on page, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Page 3. So, right here in the italics, we have a line from Job, which is, "Speak to the earth, and she shall teach thee." It's the one of the few moments where the feminine is really strongly pronounced in the Jewish tradition, and a connection to the earth and all of these other things. And I think it's beautiful to have that line in there. People think of the earth as Mother Earth on a certain level, and in Judaism we don't necessarily celebrate the connection to the earth in that way, because there's some sense of that doesn't quite help with monotheism, and that maybe there's a struggle there. One of the things I like to say, though, is that God is gender neutral, so it's not wrong or uncomfortable to say something like that. And here we have in the Bible it using she, remembering, of course, that in Hebrew everything is gendered one way or the other. We have the earth being talked about in this feminine way. I want to make an interesting point since we just came out of Kaddish. What is it in our Jewish tradition that we do with those who've passed away? We put them in the ground, right? If you think about what early life was like, you had human beings, this is pre-religion, right? You had human beings who knew that whenever a man and a woman were together, that somehow in the woman's body life was created, and then life came out of that body. And human beings also saw that the earth operated the same way. I think it's interesting and very beautiful that we have this tradition of putting people back into the ground, because in a sense we are returning them to where they came from. We're returning them to the mother. And that's why I think that the earth in the Bible is feminine gendered, is a recognition of that coming from something. We come from the earth. Adam, the original person, who was neither male nor female, was earth. Adam, Adamah, earth, right? So it's a beautiful thing to think of it that way. Now, for having your Tu Bishvat, hopefully you have some of the things that I have. I tried to push that online, but we'll see. You're going to need 4 shots, and literally I'm using shot glasses, of grape juice. You can use wine as well, depending on what time of day it is. You're going to need basically clear, or white wine, or white juice, and red. And you're going to have 4 stages, so it's like a flight, almost. Okay, so let me pull this up here real quick. So you're going to have white grape juice. You're then going to have white with a little bit of red in it. And then you're going to do the opposite. You're going to have mostly red with a little bit of white. And then you're going to have all red. Okay? Grape juice or wine, doesn't matter. Depends on what time of day it is and what your particular party level is. And you can use 1 glass. I just have 4 different ones. Some people think that they get really caught up in the chemistry of it. They want to make sure they have all the right ratios. That's not really what's important. It's symbolic. So don't worry about, oh, well, this red color is too red or too yellow or whatever the case may be. You're also going to need some special fruits or nuts. I made a joke, actually, in the Haggadah that we're using, that OneShul is the land of fruits and nuts, and now we get to prove it. And I mean that in jest, of course. Okay, so you can use fruits or nuts. I have a combination here. So the first thing you're going to want is some type of fruit or nut that has a hard outside and an edible inside. So I'm using pistachios. The next thing you're going to want is the opposite of that. You're going to want something with a pit on the inside. So I'm using an olive. So flesh on the outside, pit on the inside. Then you're going to want something that can be eaten all the way through. So I'm using a fig. This is a black mission fig. And then normally we don't have another fruit or another nut that goes with this. What's really terrific, though, in this service booklet is the idea of smelling besamim, smelling a fragrance. The suggestion that's made is rosemary, cloves, whatever the case may be. I am making soup tonight for Shabbat, so I'm using fresh dill. So you can put all of that in little bowls. You can put it on a seder plate of some kind. Just put it on a regular plate, whatever you're into. Okay, and then this is based on the neo-Hasidic seder. This is from neo-Hasid.org, and he has a sort of Kabbalistic interpretation. This is a Kabbalistic holiday, and we're going to go through each of these ideas. And sort of think about these things. We're not going to necessarily discuss them all, but I want you to use these as meditations going into your Shabbat experience. So the first cup is the world of Asiyah, which is actualization. So this is the fruits and nuts that are hard on the outside with an edible inside, and we're using the white grape juice. Okay, so we do our blessing for wine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. All right. So, although seemingly inedible from the outside, each of the foods eaten at the level of Asiyah, when peeled or shelled, hold gifts that transcend their outward appearance. Like winter, where everything lays dormant and hidden, these fruits and nuts contain inside them the potential to reveal what is hidden within. Because of their hard exterior, these foods can represent the human tendency to judge others by their outer appearance. They can also represent the ways we separate ourselves from other people. Eating these fruits reminds us that whoever we are, we all carry a divine spark within. Which then leads us to this question. When have you judged a book by its cover, only to realize that you were mistaken? So now we have the blessing for our fruit, in this case a pistachio. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri ha'etz. Delicious. I love pistachios. If at any time during the seder you have any questions, feel free to ask. This question here, when have you judged a book by its cover, only to realize you were mistaken? As I said earlier, in my younger years I had this sort of punk rock sense about myself. And I had this sort of rebellious nature. And one of the things that I've kind of tried to be better about is not judging others when I see them. And I'll give you a really great example. We are very fortunate at our sister website, punktorah.org, to receive a little bit of help from the Jewish Federation of Greater Atlanta. Now, you have to understand that going into a Federation office when you're Mr. Blah, punk rock, whatever guy, is sort of a weird thing. And I judged all of those people, and I judged them so unfairly. I saw the suits, and I saw the ties, and I thought, I can't relate to you. And what I found is actually they're beautiful, wonderful people. And that it was so wrong of me when I was first kind of getting into Jewish life and trying to, find my place Jewishly, to just automatically assume that I did not fit in. I went in there believing I didn't fit in. And so I didn't fit in. But the minute that I walked in and said, you know what, I do fit in. Well, guess what happened? That's when I fit in. The same is true in synagogue life. I meet lots of people who say, I don't fit into synagogue. And I say, okay, well, why do you not fit in? And it is always something superficial. It's always, well, I don't like wearing suits and ties. Or, well, they're old and I'm young, right? But that's the same judgment that you're projecting onto them and saying that they think that way about you. And so, that's the problem right there, right? We just sort of assume that naturally, we see people and we project our anxiety into them and then put it back on us. You go to the bathroom at the synagogue and you see someone look at you. Well, naturally, they're judging you, right? It's not that they're just looking at you because they've never seen you before, or maybe they like your t-shirt, or, maybe they think they've seen you somewhere before. It's no. Naturally, they're judging me, right? And I need to leave. Because you were never fully there. You were never fully present. You were already halfway out the door when you first started. So that's a good example from my life. And it seems like that's true. Babylonia says here, I got that a lot when I first started going to shul. Yeah, so it's that sense that you don't fit in without even trying to fit in or to not fit in. So that's an example for me of kind of being in that place where I judged someone. If you're just tuning in with us, if you are interested in logging in, all you have to do is go to where it says send here at the bottom of the chat room. Just click on that, or you click on the little person in the bottom right-hand corner, and that will allow you to log into the chat room. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our second cup. This is Yetzirah, it's formation, not Ketzirah, who's a wonderful leader here at OneShul. This is Yetzirah, which is formation. This is fruits with pits at their center, and we're going to have a little drop of red wine in the white wine. So, I believe that the technical term is rosé, is the term you would use. So we have our rosé right there. I'd like to thank my wonderful wife for having these glasses because they work out perfectly for what I was doing tonight. Although when she gets home from work, I'm sure she's going to be like, "What were you doing, partying without me? What is this?" It was the afternoon. Goodness, Patrick. So anyway, all right. So blessing for wine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. All right. So, we now drink our second cup of wine. Just as each new stream begins with a trickle, each flower with a single bud, just a few drops of color transform the hue of our wine. Although we discard the pits of these fruits, they are the seeds, the means of rebirth. These fruits can remind us that every flowering tree was once bare, and that the means to growth can sometimes come from the innermost overlooked places. They can symbolize the potential within us that we have not tapped. And our question is, what is something you have done or created that started out very small and became bigger or more important over time? And while we think about that, we have our, in my case, olive. These are Sicilian olives. They're delicious. You can get them at Kroger. They come in a jar, and I love them. They're really good with a little olive oil on top and sea salt. So, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri ha'etz. Delicious. I used to never like olives, especially when I was a kid. If you put olives on a pizza, I'd lose it. But I really like them now as an adult. So the question was, what is something you have done or created that started out very small and became bigger or more important over time? So I'd be curious to know if anyone here has an example of that. I can tell you exactly what my answer to that would be. It's punktorah. We will be celebrating our 5th anniversary in February. That's when we started off as just a YouTube channel. And, now we have punktorah, we have OneShul, we have Darshan Yeshiva. I had no intention of becoming a rabbi, and I became one. That is certainly for me, the thing that started off small and became really big. And that's because of you. That's because you helped make it happen. Every time you volunteer, every time you donate, any little bit helps. I'm going to tell on her a little bit. Arava is here in the chat room. So Arava posts all of our archived videos, right? So tremendously helpful to have someone who is just consistently doing something to improve our community here at OneShul. It's just so incredible. We are forever, in debt to her help. We have other people who, they give $5 every time every time they come to a service. They just give $5, right? Or to a class. That's a lot less expensive than a synagogue membership, I can tell you that right now. And it's $5, For some people, $5 is a lot. For some people, it's not. So give accordingly. Give what you can. Everyone does. Everyone gives something. So I'm going to finish my olive. And hopefully you will give me some examples of things that started off small that surprised you by becoming bigger. So Babylonia says, some online communities I've been a part of have grown really big. That's very true. Or particularly juicy olive. Shlomo ben Avraham says, I think of music starting as a beginner, but keep practicing over the years, and then you can play a lot of different pieces of music. Absolutely. fantastic example of something that starts off small that can get bigger and bigger. All right. So let's move into the world of creation, Beria. So these are fruits that are entirely edible. We're now moving into our half and half. So half red juice, half white juice, or wine, or whatever you have. So, here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. If you don't know the blessing for wine, you will learn it after any kind of seder. So, we drink our third cup of wine. We now have a half a cup of red wine, or juice, and half a cup of white. Even though the trees will be full and green and their flowers will blossom, their growth is not complete. So much more will be created, so much more is to come. These fruits can remind us of the wholeness of the world, where nothing is wasted and everything flourishes or nourishes everything else. We can take this time to look at the fruit of our own creations and actions and consider how to deepen our relationships in the world and with the earth. So then we are asked this question: when do you feel truly whole and happy? So we have the blessing for our final fruit. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri ha'etz. Love figs. So, when do I feel truly whole and happy? There's a few times. So one is when I'm playing music. Love being in a band. Very happy to be in the band I'm in now, with two guys I really like. More important than that, I say definitely being with my wife makes me feel truly whole and happy. Being here with you at OneShul, having people over for Shabbat, being with people celebrating Jewish holidays, being with my family. And then also, now that I've sort of talked about the big stuff, I have to say I truly feel whole and happy when I'm walking. I love to walk. I walk an average of 2 miles a day. I walked 3 miles yesterday. I actually gave up my car, which is something that no one in Atlanta does. That's the dumbest thing in the world you can do, is giving up your car. But I gave up my car, gosh, when was it? October, I think? Something like that. And I've been grateful ever since, because the amount of walking I've done, the amount of public transit I've taken, it's really opened up the world to me in a weird way. It's given me opportunities to socialize with people, which I never thought would happen. I use a service called Lyft, L-Y-F-T. And matter of fact, I've gotten to be known as that rabbi who people pick up. Lyft is a ride-sharing service, and it's an app as well. And so when I need to go somewhere that I can't get to by walking or by public transit, I take Lyft. And it's like a very inexpensive cab. And I found that in those times I feel just, I feel incredibly happy. I get to meet these new people that I wouldn't have otherwise gotten to meet. Matter of fact, I met a guy who was really into punktorah the other day, which was just totally fantastic. It was a Jewish guy, and we had this great Jewish conversation on the way to my doctor's office. It was fantastic, so it was really cool. So let's look at what people have to say here. So Babylonia says, when I have a full belly and I'm around friends and family, that's when I'm happy. Amen. That's fantastic. Arava says, when I'm with family, friends, and my 4-footed kids. That's terrific. Shlomo Ben Avraham says, when I'm with family and friends. And let's see what else we got here. Yoni says, when I'm out running with my dog, that moment when the endorphins really hit and you're out in the fresh air. Absolutely. Shlomo also says, listening to good music. And Arava says, an Alice Cooper concert. That's awesome. That is awesome. And Arava says, yeah, I'm weird. Well, we're all weird, so whatever. So that's terrific. Thank you for sharing that, everyone. All right. Well, let's move into the fourth world, the world of Atzilut, which is presence, emanation, rebirth. It's our sort of final stage here. And so when we move into this other world, we think of the red of the first cup and the cyclical nature of the seasons. This final section represents what is invisible to the eye. And instead of eating fruit, we're going to enjoy the sweet smell, in this case, of dill. Beyond the cycle of eating is the cycle of breathing, when something lives both within and without us at the same time, when it is so much a part of us that we cannot even see it. At this level, all things are already part of each other. We all have this kind of connection with the earth and with God. Like smells, the way we remember this connections is subtle. The feel of the soil or the smell of dew, the color of the changing leaves, the sounds of birds migrating, or the clasp of a hand. So, for this question we ask, what helps you to remember and appreciate what you cannot see? So we say here, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. And then, because we are not eating, we're smelling, we're going to use the bracha that is said for Havdalah. First time I've ever said this on Shabbat, so this is interesting, which is Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri b'samim. Smells good. That'll be good in my soup. All right. So the question is, what helps you remember and appreciate what you cannot see? So it's a little bit deeper question, right? A little bit heavier. I'm going to say that one more time. What helps you remember and appreciate what you cannot see? I would definitely say people's acts of generosity. When people do things completely selflessly, I am reminded of what is invisible to me. When I am surprised by life and the things that happen. So as an example, I met a really terrific person yesterday who wants to help out with punktorah. We ended up getting a cup of coffee together. Is a rabbi who's about to retire, or has retired, I should say. The kindness and generosity that he has. Another rabbi, actually, coincidentally enough, that is part of our OneShul community, Rabbi David Mark, who writes Divrei Torah for us, once a week. His kindness and generosity, it's really fantastic when you meet those people. And it's not just that on a humanistic level you appreciate them, on a personal level you appreciate them, but it reminds you of that otherness. It reminds you of that something else, right? That there's more. The relationships are great, but there's more underlying the relationship than the relationship. And so that, for me, is what helps me to remember and appreciate what I can't see. So, looks like that question was maybe a little bit over the top for some of the people here in the chat room. Here we go, now we're getting some. Aravas says, people going out of their way for animals. Yeah, absolutely. Babylonia says, people sharing their feelings instead of being closed off. That's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. So anyone have some other thoughts about what helps you remember and appreciate what you cannot see? And while you're typing that in, there's actually a little bit of fruit left over. I'll enjoy that so nothing goes to waste. All right. Well, it looks like everyone has spoken their piece. So, I want to offer this after Seder blessing, which is, in English, blessed are you, the one who created so many different living things, all needing each other, to make one life interwoven through them all as one soul. Blessed be the life of all worlds. All of the worlds that we have been through in this Kabbalistic Seder that we've enjoyed together. So, brief commercial announcement, and then we'll be right back. You've always wanted to serve the Jewish community as a rabbi. Fantastic. But there's a problem. You don't have the time or the financial resources to attend rabbinical school. What if there was a way to learn everything you needed to know to be a Jewish leader online and at your convenience? Well, now there is. Introducing the Darshan Yeshiva, an online school training lay Jewish spiritual leaders to serve as darshanim or para-rabbis in their local communities. At the Darshan Yeshiva, you'll gain all the academic knowledge, ritual leadership, and professional skills to lead a Jewish community. And when you're finished studying with us, you'll be ordained as a darshan, a Jewish teacher, orator, and community organizer. The Darshan Yeshiva uses the latest in streaming video and audio to deliver relevant classes via your Mac or PC. The Darshan Yeshiva is proud to be flexible, allowing you to study anytime at your own pace, affordable with only one flat monthly rate, and committed to your success through our supportive peer and mentor network. So log on to the Darshan Yeshiva and start your Jewish journey with us today. You've always wanted to serve the So, Darshan Yeshiva, terrific program for anyone who is interested in expanding their Jewish learning beyond what we have here at OneShul. I should say that in addition to the monthly rate where you pay a subscription, just like any kind of online thing or a magazine, we now have a one-time flat fee as well. So if you don't want to have to pay every month, if that doesn't work for you, you can pay basically for a certain number of months, but then you get it for life, which is fantastic. So you pay, instead of paying every month for however long, you just pay once, and that's it. And it's about 15% off the average cost, so you can save a little bit of money as well. And there's all different types of price ranges. There's all different types of sort of access levels. So if you just want to study Torah and you want to do it very inexpensively, that's one price. If you want to go sort of full on and you want to do an ordination program, you can do that as well. And you save a little bit of money, which is fantastic. So all kinds of different programs there, lots of different ways to learn, and I highly recommend that you check those out. So I want to thank you for coming to the service that we had today. Stick around at 8 o'clock Eastern. We're going to have Around the Shabbat Table with David, who is going to talk about the feeling of not belonging. The feeling of not belonging. That's from 8 to 9 o'clock tonight. Tomorrow we have two services. We have a Haftarah study that's going to be going on with Troy. And then at 7 o'clock Eastern, Michael is going to be leading us in Havdalah. So we have another Shabbat service tonight. We have two events tomorrow. And then we start back again on Monday with Torah Talk with Hannah. So please come back, check those out. We have lots of different things going on. And hey, if you'd like to lead a class or a service, all you have to do is email Patrick at punktorah.org. Myself and David will work with you, and we will be more than happy to teach you how to do all of this. You don't have to have anything fancy in terms of technology. You don't have to have lots of techie experience. And Michael is right here with us. So there you go, right? So lots of ways that you can volunteer if you want to lead a service or a class. No experience required whatsoever. If you are interested in simply donating, if that's your way of giving back, we always need financial help. You can go to the top of the website. You can use a debit card, PayPal. You can donate that way. $5 is the suggested donation. If you can help out, we'd really appreciate it. In addition to that, we always need other types of volunteers for all different types of things that we need, whether it's graphic design, writing. We always need people to help us with tech stuff. If you're a techie person at all, if you're into doing administrative work, we always need people to help type things or stuff like that. And promotionally, share this stuff on Facebook, on Twitter, Tumblr, whatever your particular medium is. Tell your family and friends about what we're doing here, because we have a terrific community here. We need to share it. But here's the thing, you have to get involved. This is not a synagogue where one person is in charge and then everyone just shows up. This is a chavura, right? In a chavura, a friend group, everyone participates. Everyone does something. I mean, I can say 3 people right here who are volunteers, who give back tremendously. And you should give back as well, right? Because if you don't give back, we don't exist. It costs a lot of money, actually, to run our network. And we all have to be supportive. We all have to find our way to be helpful. And there is a way for everybody. I promise you, if everyone else can do it, so can you. There is some kind of way in for everybody. Whoever you are and wherever you are in life, there is something here in the community for you. There's a way you can participate. There's a way that you can give back. So all you have to do, again, email me, patrick@punktorah.org, and we will get you connected either as a volunteer or a donor or a service and class leader, whatever suits you and suits where you're at in life. So I'll stick around for a few minutes after the service is over. Thank you so much for coming. Again, please come to all of the stuff that we have coming up over the rest of the weekend, and we will see you soon. Take care, and Shabbat Shalom.